I think not that the whole scenario about each game as it comes and things like that, but I think we just have to do the best we can in each game. Where we've got players who can and win games. Probably disappointing I didn't get another striker, but over the last couple of weeks, the ones that we could afford or were available, I didn't think they were better than what we have really. So it's pointless just getting somebody for the sake of doing that. But pleased to bring the midfield lads in because we were really short on that. So it's one of those things. I think if the lads will give, I know the lads they're inside out. It won't be for the lack of trying. I think at this level, yes, technically we're not as gifted as a lot of teams. And you look at the teams coming up with us, they've spent over 100 million in Fulham, haven't they? And Wolves are not far off. So it's one of those things. Whilst it's good to have money, sometimes you forget what's actually got you there when you've got money, and you change everything. And doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work. But we haven't got that luxury anyhow. So we've spent it wisely, we think, looking to build for the club for the future. Really, I know I keep mentioning Burnley went down the first time they went up, and they built the training ground and they put the blocks in place and never looked back. And I think the news that we've got permission or for planning permission for the training ground is vital really, because I think it's you leave a legacy at the club really. So we don't want to go down, but we'll be trying our hardest, to stay above, keeping our heads above water.
Absolutely pragmatic sort of view on it. You mentioned about Fulham and Wolves and the amount of money they've spent, and I mean obviously you're very well aware of pundits, predictions and all that sort of thing. I wonder though whether you think, hang on guys, give us a break at this stage of the season, or whether actually use that as a galvanising method.
Well, I mean, I think everybody in the world of football has tipped us. I mean, somebody said to be close near the bottom, but I think that was a compliment, really. I think most people have said we will finish bottom. So, I think we've been, since I've been at the club, really, and since I've been a manager, I've not really had any teams that have been favourites anywhere anyhow. So last year we were, we should have finished in the bottom half of the table. A lot of big teams with a lot of big wages, didn't come anywhere near us. So, we just got to look and think about our future. There's a lot of players playing in the Premier League this year for Cardiff that would never have dreamt of playing in the Premier League. And that's why I've stayed faithful to them, because I think they deserve it, what they went through last year. And we've supplemented the squad, but not necessarily are they going to take the places. I think they've got to fight for places, So it's great for me to, look back at games last year when we must have been written off 6 or 7 times last year throughout the season, and yet we kept surprising everybody really, and that's why we're here today.
Absolutely. You talk as well. Sorry, I mentioned in your book again. You talk as well about the sort of new young breed of managers. You're going to be facing one of those in Eddie Howe, be it, he's been in Bournemouth for a little while now. I wonder how you think he's going to look forward to pitting his wits against you, bearing in mind the experience you've got, and how much you're looking forward to pitting your wits against him.
Well, I think he sums it. I think Eddie sums it up. I met him on Wednesday at the managers' meeting, and he's a very, very level-headed young man. I think, I think it was important for him to be happy. A few years ago, I think when he went to Burnley, he wasn't happy really then, and I think he's found his place and he's enjoying it. And they've improved every year. We had a laugh because the lad Lerma was number 1 on our list at the end of last season, and we thought we'd get him for about 6 or 7 million, and he went for 27 million. So I said to him, bloody hell, what's it like to be in that position? So we had a laugh about that. But it just shows how far the club's moved. They've got a good owner who's really splashed it really. And but I don't envy anybody like that. I think sometimes money brings you more problems, than it's worth. I think we've just got to look to try and stabilise the club and give it a chance. Give it a chance of staying up. If we can galvanise everybody within the group, I think we can entertain and get results. The top 6 is pretty much beyond everybody. You look at the standard at the top 6, and I purr at some of the players when I watch them play. So you don't think about points off them really. It's a bonus, anything. But everywhere else after that, no matter what they've spent, I think is a winnable game. You get beat a few times and you'll have losing runs, But I think every game apart from the top six is a winnable in the Premier League now. I think it's wide open, so I don't see why we shouldn't go and try and get points everywhere, and hope that we can get enough.
Let's go for questions. Just talking to Sean Morrison yesterday, he said he was really proud of looking around the squad. He thinks that they're already thinking of themselves as Premier League players. It's not taking them. He doesn't think it's going to take them a few games to sort of settle into that mentality. Is that what you're seeing, and are you feeling that same degree of pride?
Yeah, I think players like managers are apprehensive. To the step that some of the lads have done in the last 18 months, quite incredible, really. Mendes Leng for a start. Rochdale to play in the Championship, now in the Premier League. It's quite an incredible fate. Neil Etheridge from Walsall, and Sol Bamba from Timbuktu. He's been everywhere. So. Juni Hoylett's been around the places as well. So it's great for me to look around the dressing room and know that they deserve this chance. And as long as they give me everything, you won't see me criticising them this year. Yeah, I no doubt we'll get beaten by quality at times, but I mean that's the Premiership, isn't it? But I do know that if I was going into battle, and I always say, who would you like in the trenches alongside you? There's not many of my players I wouldn't like alongside me if I was in the trenches.
And they say they'll run through brick walls for you. They're going to have to run through a few brick walls.
Yeah, they are. We're going to have to be organised, and we bought players with pace as well to try and we've got to we will be defending for long parts of the game. Nothing new to us. We were last year. So there's nothing new about that. But we try and entertain when we can. We try and get shots on goals and crosses and make the goalie work and things like that. And nothing will change like that. I think it's an exciting game, and we're really pleased to be part of it.
Thank you very much. The best of luck.
Thank you.
Morning.
Hiya.
If you'd had the money that Wolves and Fulham have had this summer, Neil, would you have spent it?
I think I probably would have bought a top-class striker, yeah.
Right.
But I'm not really sure I would have spent it anywhere else, really. The midfield players I got in yesterday, if I'd have had to spend 15-20 million quid on them two, I probably would have done. So it's great to get the way we've done it now. I'm sure Vincent appreciates it as well. Talking to him, that we're not throwing money away or done things that we can't sustain. We've got players on loan that if things don't go right, is not going to bankrupt the club after the next 12 months. But at the same time, we've got lads on loan that are desperate to show they can play, really. So we've got that hunger and ability that we wanted from these players. And I think the squad is obviously a far better squad than last year, really. Last year I thought we could give most teams a run in there. Even the Man City in the Cup, I thought we played quite well that day, and it wasn't a foregone conclusion. It was just the brilliance of De Bruyne, which we are going to get that against the top clubs.
Do you think your owner learned from the experience 5 years ago that throwing money at it is maybe not what it's all about?
Well, I don't know, because I've not really. It never crossed. It never cropped up in conversation that I could spend a lot of money. It was always going to be trying to get value for money, and I had a figure in my head. I think we've only spent 25 million net. I think some of the other bits and bobs are if we retain our Premiership, And when you look at Lerma going for 25, 27 million to Bournemouth, I think it shows you we all know what we're up against. But there's always some sort of I wouldn't say romantic story, but there's always some sort of a story in football that people don't expect, and we're hoping it's us.
The players you brought in yesterday on loan, tell us a little about those two, and particularly how do you engender the same spirit from a loan player as when you get a permanent signing? What's the secret to doing that? Well,
we were really surprised when Victor's name cropped up, because I think Brighton offered 10 million for him in January or something like that, and then there's been quite a few Spanish clubs have wanted him. But I think the women's influence is amazing at times. I think his partner is a lovely young lady, and she came to Cardiff a few years ago for a while and loved it, and I think that might have just influenced him. So I'm delighted that she actually has already been here. So he's an interesting player, because he can do a lot more than he's been asked to do in the last few years. You know, you saw the way Real played. It's a very slow, which a lot of top teams do, don't they? But I don't think it suits his style, really. I think the way we play will suit him. Ariata, well, I mean, if you wanted to put your shirt down in the parks and have a couple of games there with kids, he'd want to play the same way as he does every week in, week out. You know, I spoke to Eddie about him on Wednesday, and he, didn't really want him to leave, but he's been with them. You know, I think they paid £4,000 for him, didn't they? 25 years ago, whenever it was, and he's been with them ever since. And Eddie said he just feels that he's got to be playing, and we're delighted to have him, because the way that we play football, your Harry Arters and the way that he's been brought up, it just fits like a glove, really. He's a hard-working lad, got a bit of skill as well, and Premier League experience, which we are a bit short of. So it fits all the bills, really. And with Joe Ralls and Gunnarsson, we do feel we've got now, we feel a lot happier than we were 48 hours ago, because we were disappointed not to get Marco, and then we went after Ndai, and he decided to go to a Spanish second division club for money, so he wasn't the right type of person that we were looking for anyhow. So that answered a few questions. So we were disappointed at times, but we persevered, and in the end I think we've done far better than what we thought we were going to do with the players we were originally going to sign. So we're really delighted at that.
Do you think the style of football you played last season can be repeated in the Premier League, or do you need to tweak it slightly, and that's maybe reflected in the players that you have?
I don't really know. I think it's for you people to discuss the style, really. I think we just like to defend well, break quickly, and create chances and make it exciting games. I don't think there were many games last year that weren't exciting that we played in, unless you were some of the opponents at times. We were one or two moaning about us, but if I don't make any bones about it, if we get a free kick in the other half, I still don't see it being a problem putting centre halves in the box and trying to score a goal, or having 15 passes and going back to your goalkeeper. I don't think that's anything modern technique or coaching or anything. We're not going to change that.
What would represent a successful season for you, Neil?
17th, yeah. Well, by an absolute mile, yeah. It would be my biggest achievement, finishing 17th, I think, in my whole career. But it's not one. I'm determined to try and enjoy it. I know it's difficult at times, but I don't see why I shouldn't try and enjoy it. And if the worst come to the worst, then so be it. But it won't be for the lack of trying. And I've got a good group of lads, and they deserve a chance. So it's good that we're all looking forward to it. And as it was said earlier, I think the lads are believing now that they're in the Premiership and that they can more than hold their own.
You've always had a certain reputation amongst away supporters, and you've said yourself, the day you keel over, you'll get a minute's booing.
No, that was only at Bristol City. People take it a little bit too far, though. I don't mean everybody in the country. No, I just...
What kind of reputation do you think you've got amongst Premier League away supporters? What do you think you're going to get at away grounds?
I think they know I'm quite honest, really. I think speak my mind at times, and which is probably going out of fashion now. It's cost me a few quid in the past, but I have to be careful now, because every fine I get, my wife gets the same. So I have to be careful. Double hit it is now.
Are you looking forward to it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, and I'm not being disrespectful. I mentioned Preston and Bolton in last week, and I said, where would you rather be going, Old Trafford and Stamford Bridge or Preston and Bolton? And that was only because Preston and Bolton battered us last year at their place. So I didn't, I'd rather be going to these places this year. And I think, I'm sure our fans still can't quite believe it. Still wake up thinking, wow, are we really here? And it's almost like a fairy tale story, really. And that's why we've got to take it on board and enjoy it.
Thanks.
Neil, are you excited?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think every word you can use to describe is how I feel, really. We've talked about apprehension and excitement in the same, and it is the same thing. You want your team to do well. You want to be able to compete with the teams that we're competing with. And we know we've not spent a lot of money, and our wage bill will be the lowest by a mile. probably there's ever been in the Premier League. But so we have to overcome a lot of obstacles to get anywhere near where we want to be, and I'm sure there'll be quite a few blips on the way. But hey ho, like I say, where would you rather be? And there's only one place really, and that's this league is unbelievable.
You say here that you've never had a team of favourites wherever you've been in your long career. Have you ever been such big underdogs, do you think?
No, I don't think. Although one of my first jobs was at Scarborough, and we only had one player registered when I took over, and I took 24 players over and signed 17, I think it was. We were 50-1 outsiders, and I kept telling everybody I took over that this was the Man United of non-league Scarborough. It was a lovely place, and I didn't take them anywhere near there. I just took them on the coast, when I interviewed them. But we were 50-1 to finish bottom that year with Dagenham and Redbridge. Never forget, and all the big money lads. I still have a laugh with Barry Frank because they were Barnet were all the money. They had all the money, and we kept going, and a bit like this year. Barnet thought we would fold, and we kept going and ended up winning the league. So, I think that was probably as big an achievement. But this would be, in the modern day, probably a minor miracle, really.
Overall, would you say you had a good transfer window, other than maybe the striker? And on that, have you got enough goals in the team?
I think that'll be the biggest problem. Goals in the team. We need somebody to have a streak. Really, and they're quite capable of doing that. Danny Ward's looked really sharp. Reedy's looked really sharp. Murphy looks like there's goals in him, and Junior with set pieces are always good, aren't they? So, I think we have got. We just need a little bit of luck and a little bit of quality at the right times now, and I think there are. But yes, I would have liked to, a top class striker if I could have done. But there wasn't really anybody available that we looked at that we felt would fit all our criteria.
Because Kenneth Zoho has had plenty written about him. It's a great opportunity for him, isn't it, at his age, to really make a mark for himself.
Yeah, he's got everything in his locker, and he just had a little baby as well, so family life's happy as well. And we're going to need Ken at the really top of his game for us to succeed this season.
Listening to Sam Allardyce this week, and he was saying that he'd looked back on his time in the Premier League and found that the first 10 games you had to get points in the bag to stay up, basically. Do you take what he means, that you've got to make a good start?
Well, it's hard. I think it's hard. When you only play one game a week, it's hard to... I mean, that's the plus thing for us is that it is only one game a week till I think our first midweek game's December. So it's good for people like Sol and that for recovery and that this year, because when you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, you can get 9 points in a week quickly. Well, that doesn't happen in the Prem. So if you get too far behind in the first 10 games, it's very difficult to catch up. So I understand what he's saying. But having said that, Rob, I think Crystal Palace didn't score a goal for 7 games last year. So, you have to keep things in perspective as well. I don't think they got a point or a goal for 7 matches and finished mid-table, didn't they?
And the one thing you have got this time, which, you would have been unaware of it, but you've got a stable club now, haven't you? And is that almost the key element for you now?
It's the main element, really. I think I can say I feel very proud when I look around the club now, not just on the field of play, but around the town and around everything to do with the club. I feel that we've contributed and that we've put the club where it should be now, and I think everybody's singing from the same hymn sheets. So it's a very, they are looking forward. They're very good fans as well. Away from home they'll be vociferous, and at home I'm hoping we get full houses every week like we have got against Newcastle next week, because it is an intimidating place. So. I think we've got to look at it like that. It's almost like getting your tickets on the bus ride, isn't it? And having a nice bus ride. You don't really know where you're going to be, but let's enjoy it. Make sure you take your packing up with you.
All the best.
Thank you.
You ready for it?
Yeah, all looking forward to it. Yeah, can't wait for it to start.
What about your 2 new recruits yesterday?
Yeah, good signings. I think it's always good to get a couple more in through the door, and I think it just gives everyone a boost going into the new season.
It's always good, except when they're in your position.
Yeah, nah, it's good. I think we was a little bit short in that area, to be honest. Obviously, the manager spoke to me about that as well, and I think it was definitely an area we needed to get a few bodies in, and I'm glad he's got them in.
So did the manager sort of say to you, don't be concerned, this is what has to happen?
No, not like that. Just obviously what he was sort of looking to bring in, really. Obviously we was obviously a bit short in that area, losing a couple of lads that we had on loan last year. So obviously we needed to get a couple in, and I'm glad he's got that.
How equipped do you feel the squad is, and how excited is the squad as a whole after what happened last season? Yeah,
I think obviously the core of the group's still the same. Obviously the boys that worked hard to get here last year are still here and looking forward to the challenge, and obviously the manager's brought in some good young exciting players that can add to that, and hopefully they can make a difference as well.
Is it daunting though when you see what, say, Wolves and Fulham have done in the transfer window?
Well, yeah, them two are a bit of an exception, aren't they, this year? Obviously they've spent massive money, but we're happy with what we got. We know what we can do, and hopefully we can still go out there and pick up the points that we need.
And for yourself, you've come a long way, haven't you?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. It's been a mad few years, really, obviously, and then last year was just brilliant. So, and to find myself here now is obviously amazing, and I'm just looking forward to hitting the ground running, really, and hopefully having a good season.
Will it feel really special, do you think, running out of Bournemouth tomorrow, a bit different to what you've experienced before?
I think it will feel different, yeah. Obviously, we've had a few years in the Championship now, played plenty of games there, which I was obviously happy about. But obviously, this is another step up that I'm looking forward to, and I think all the boys are, a lot of the boys are in a similar position to me, and we're looking forward to, the challenge.
Have you read all the previews, listened to all the pundits saying it'll be a one-season job?
I haven't actually. Yeah, I can imagine, but I haven't really looked into it.
What does that do for the squad? I mean, I'm sure people do say you're aware that Cardiff, as ever, are favourites to go straight back down. Yeah, of course. Sort of expect that as one of the teams coming up into the league, and then obviously the other two spending like they have. Obviously, you can see why. But we're confident in what we can do. We're obviously on the back of a great season last year, and hopefully we can bring that confidence into the start of the season and get off to a good start. Would be great.
Morning, Joe.
Morning.
Do you think those predictions that Rob was talking about, the pundits, is that something you think the manager will use as a positive this season? He's very good at that backs to the wall mentality stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I think we sort of had that a little bit last year. No one really fancied us to go up, all through the year, even towards the end. So it's always nice to prove people wrong, and I'm sure, obviously we're going to have to do that again this year.
And do you think, in a sense, that spirit of last year, that may be your strongest asset?
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, obviously the group we've got here is amazing. It's one of the best change rooms I've been involved in, and I think that takes you so far, definitely. And speaking to all the boys, we obviously, there's going to be times where we're going to have to stick together. It's going to be tough at times, but we will do that, and then obviously, hopefully, with the quality we brought in and things, we can get the points we need.
Have the likes of Huddersfield and Burnley perhaps shown you that you can do it in the way that you are going to have to do it?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially Burnley, the way they've sort of gone about it ever since they come up, it just shows that you don't have to always spend a lot of money to sustain yourself in the Premier League. Obviously we haven't, but we brought players in still. The squad is better than what it was last year, and we feel ready, and we're looking forward to going into it.
Your manager always radiates this energy and enthusiasm. What's he been like in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, he's been his usual self, to be honest. He's always creates a great atmosphere around the training ground and stuff. He has done ever since he come in, to be honest, and it's always great for all the boys. New lads probably a lot. What's this like? But it's always good. The atmosphere is always brilliant, and like I say, that team spirit and togetherness that we showed last year, we're definitely going to need that this year.
He's been in the Premier League before, of course. It perhaps didn't go how he wanted it. Do you get the sense he's got something to prove as well?
I think, yeah, I'm not sure. Obviously, you have to ask him, but I think he's looking forward to the challenge. I think he's happy with being here, being manager of this football club, and I think he's looking forward to going up there as well, and with the players he's got. So hopefully we can, do well for him and sustain ourselves in the Premier League.
Thanks, Joe.
Joe, good morning. I'm Francis Donovan from
Morning.
Productions. Nice to see you.
You too.
What are you most looking forward to about this?
I think just obviously playing against some of the teams and players that are right up there in world football. It's as a footballer, it's a great test for yourself to be putting yourself up against these players and teams really.
Talking to Sean Morrison yesterday, he was saying how proud he was of the squad. In the fact that he thinks you've all got the mentality now that you are Premier League players, which sometimes it can take some clubs who are coming up a few games to settle into that sort of mentality. Why do you think you've already got that? What is it about this squad that makes you think, you know what, we're going to do this?
I just think we earned the right to be here last year, and I think that's keeping the same group of players that we had last year, but obviously adding quality. I think that just keeps that spirit that we've had, and the sort of thought that we deserve to be here, and we're looking forward to obviously the challenge.
Very best of luck. I think it's really well for you.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.